In this video, we will be diving into FA1.2 template. So we'll talk about what FA1.2 is and how can you guys use it using Smartpy. So FA1.2 is a standard for fungible tokens on Tezos. So there are actually two token standards up on Tezos, which are FA1.2 and FA2. So today we'll be discussing FA1.2. So it's a token standard on Tezos. So token standard defines a way of writing a specific contract so that it can be accessible across different platforms and different applications. Because you have a predefined standards, you can directly use these methods wherever you want, and they are going to work because of the standard, just because every single file will contain the same methods. So let's talk about why do we use FA1.2. So it is primarily used for fungible tokens, and it is similar to what ERC20 is on Ethereum. So entry points of FA1.2. So basically we're talking about what are the entry points that FA1.2 token standard has. So you can see it has transfer, approve, mint, burn, set administrator, and set pause. So transfer is to transfer tokens from one person to another. So it takes this information as a parameter. So this is the data type, or I would say the parameter type. So the parameter needs to be a record of from. So from is the address of the person from which you want to send or transfer the tokens. To represent to whom you are trying to send, and the value represent the amount of tokens that you want to send. And then you have mint and burn. Mint and burn stands for creating new tokens and burning new tokens. And address is the address of the person in whose account will put the new tokens, or will burn from this account. So this is what this address is, and value is the amount of tokens. Then you have approve. So approve is primarily used when you want to approve another person or contract to spend tokens on your behalf. So basically what it means is, for example, if you're interacting with some contract, so you can actually say that, okay, we want to allow this contract to spend certain amount of tokens from my account, so that the contract will be able to take some money from your contract. In the same sense, you have set administrator. So it basically changes the admin of the contract, and this method is only callable by admin. Same goes with the burn, mint, but approve and transfer can be called by every single person who owns tokens. Then set pause is also something for admin. We can actually pause or unpause the pool so that it will stop the transactions that are going to happen in the future. So you can change it if you want to. So how will you go about using it? So here I have FA1.2 token template. I just downloaded it from the Smartpy official documentation. And all right, so you can see this is the demo template here. And this metadata here is actually a TZIP 0116 metadata. So you can actually know, if you want to know more about this standard, you can just look for TZIP 016, and here you will find more information about it. So you can see, and it will give you the information about what it takes and what can you put it here. So you can read more about TZIP 16 contract metadata here. So apart from that, we can start by writing the test. So we define the token metadata and the contract metadata, and then we can create an object of the token class. So the argument that it takes is the admin. The first argument is the admin, then it takes the config. So config is actually fa12.fa12 underscore config. It's actually a class that defines certain parameters. So if I show you class fa12 underscore config, so you can see it basically just defines some parameters. So if you want to change these, you can. So support upgradable metadata, so that you can change metadata in the future, and use token metadata off-chain view, so you can change these parameters if you want to. But in our case, just let it simple, and then you can specify the token metadata and the contract metadata, and you're good to go. So once you created the token object here, you can actually add it to the scenario by creating a scenario. You can create a scenario by doing sp.test scenario. Now if I try to compile it to show you, so if I do Smartpy, by the way, if you do not know how to compile it with Smartpy CLI, you can watch one of my previous video and you will get to know how to do it. So once I compile it, you can see there are no errors. So I'm just going to open one more terminal and open my live server and output and FA12 and log.html. All right, so here we will have the, so you can see these are the tests for the FA 1.2, but we want the test for our contract. So, oh, I need to add sp.add test and not here. So once I compile it, if you see this, we'll go to the token and log.html. So you can see this is our contract that we created, and this is the admin. So it's a demo account, that's why it is like this. So now I will show you how you can mint the token. So it's easy, you can do token.mint, and the mint method takes these parameters and record of address and the value. So we're gonna do the same thing. We'll create a record of address. Address is equals to, let's say we want to mint this to a account called Alice. Let's create a account called Alice. So we'll do alice.address, and in the same sense we'll provide the amount, and yep. So once that is done, you can actually do .run and provide the sender. Make sure to provide the sender to be admin, because this mint method is only accessible by the admin. So if I compile it again, I should be able to see the changes. So we are getting an error, and this error says the entry point accepts address and value, but we got address and amount. Okay, so this should be value. Okay, so once I compile it here, you can actually see that we did the transaction called mint, and 100 tokens is actually minted to this address. This is how you can mint FA 1.2 tokens. In the same sense, if I try to change it to a non-admin, so for example Alice itself, so it will give me an error because Alice is not the admin. So you can see we are getting an error saying FA 1.2 underscore not admin. So that's why it needs to be an admin. So we'll do admin here. In the same sense, you can actually burn the tokens. Let's say if we want to burn 10 tokens, so it takes on a pretty similar parameter, and it also needs to be signed by the admin. So I will run it again, and now here you will see that we have burned 10 tokens, and you can see now the balance of this person who is Alice is 90. So this is how you can burn the tokens. If you want to transfer the token, for example, if you want to transfer the token from Alice to somebody else account, you can do that as well. So if you take a look over here, the transfer method takes these three parameters. So we'll do transfer 20 or 30 tokens to admin from Alice. So it's pretty easy. We'll do token dot transfer. My GitHub Copilot is trying to help me, and he's trying to do his best, but he can't because it's a Smartpy and there are not many resources. So we'll do record, and here we'll provide the address, from. So we'll do from is Alice dot address, and make sure to use address because you're using a test account. So in order to access the actual address, you need to use dot address. But if it was let's say bob is equals to sp dot address, if you are trying to do something like this, so you can directly use bob. So if I show you from this account, then we'll provide the two. Let's do it bob. Okay, so now you don't have to provide dot address, and then you specify the value that you want to send. I will have to run this and send it using someone, so it will be signed by the Alice. So when you provide here, you don't have to provide alice.address, although if you want to, you can do this as well, it will work fine. Alright, so once it is done, you can actually see the results here. So we have transferred this much 30 tokens to TZ1 Bob. So you can see now the balance of TZ1 Bob is 30. So this is how you can do transactions. So this is how you can do transfer calls. And now In the same sense, you can change the admin uh, to someone else if you want to, and in the same sense you can pause the contract, so you will not be able to do any transfer. Now let's take a look at how approve method works. If you see this documentation over here, you'll find that the approve method takes a record which contains a spender, which is the address of the person who can spend your tokens, and value, which is the amount of tokens he can spend. Here we are going to call the approve method, and we want Bob to be our spender. So we want Bob to give ability to spend 10 tokens from our account. So this is what we are doing. Or maybe let's create one more account and we'll call it, say, what should we call it? Carol. Okay, let's call it Carol. GitHub Copilot is suggesting us, so let's take this name. So we want to approve Carol to spend 10 tokens from our behalf. So if I try to compile this code now, you will see the approve happen, and now Carol has the ability to spend 10 tokens. So now Carol can spend 10 tokens. So let's transfer some tokens using Carol. So what we are going to do, we'll do token dot transfer, and if you remember, transfer method takes these argument. So I'll just copy this record here and paste it here, and we want to transfer from Alice account to our account. So currently we are Carol, and the value is 10 because 10 tokens are actually approved. Now what I'm going to do, I will run and sign this transaction using Carol, and let's see what will happen. When I run it, you will see that the transfer method was successful, and now you can see this, that initially Carol had the ability to spend 10 tokens from the Alice account. Now he has the ability to spend 0 tokens. So if you try to directly transfer 11 tokens, you will get an error. You can see FA1.2 not allowed because only 10 tokens are allowed. So this way you can spend using someone else account if you are approved. So this is how you can use the approve method to approve someone to transfer funds on your on. So this is how you can approve someone else to transfer funds on your behalf. So this is it for this video. So in the next video, we'll cover another token standard, which is FA2, which can be used for fungible as well as non-fungible tokens. It also contains other features like batch transactions, which allow you to execute multiple transfer calls in just a single transaction. So stay tuned for that video, and bye.